Been a while since we did that. So welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for all of our guests being with us today, and happy 2022. At this time, I'd like you to all check into the world, let everybody know where we're at. And while you're doing so, silence the cell phone so we can enjoy today's meeting. This time, I'm going to ask Christy Vandenberg to come up. She's going to lead us in our, not quite an invocation.
Yes, unless Michael Huff is online.
Unless Mike Huff is there.
Mike Huff there,
David, do you see Mike Huff online? No, that's my head.
okay.
All right, so Christy's coming up to do a little something special for us.
First thing, if I call y'all about praying and that, call me back. Let me just say that, call me back. That'd be so good. All right. I was going through email like we all do after the first of the year and looking at stuff. And this morning I came upon it's a poem, and it's called New Year's Lyric, and it's by Amanda Gorman. If y'all know who Amanda is, she is the young lady who's about, I don't know, what is she, almost 22 now? She's not very bit old, but she spoke, and I'm going to read this. It's a little long, but it is amazing. May this be the day we come together. Mourning, we come to mend. Withered, we come to weather. Torn, we come to tend. Battered, we come to better. Tethered by this year of yearning, we are learning that though we weren't ready for this, we have been readied by it. We steadily vow that no matter how we are weighed down, we must always pave a way forward. This hope is our door, our portal. Even if we never get back to normal, someday we can venture beyond it. To leave the known and take the first steps, so let us not return to what was normal, but reach toward what is next. What was cursed, we will cure. What was plagued, we will prove pure. Where we tend to argue, we will try to agree. Those fortunes we foresaw, now the future we foresee. Where we weren't aware, we are now awake. Those moments we missed are now these moments we make. The moments we meet and our hearts once all together beaten, now all together beat. Come, look up with kindness yet, for even solace can be sourced from sorrow. We remember not just for the sake of yesterday, but to take on tomorrow. We heed this old spirit in a new day's lyric. In our hearts we hear it, for Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne. Be bold, sang time this year. Be bold, sang time. For when you honor yesterday, tomorrow ye will find. Know what we fought need not be forgot nor for none. It defines us, binds us as one. Come over, join this day just begun. For wherever we come together, we will forever overcome. God bless you all. Let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Thank you, District Governor Christie, for that. At this time, we'll have George Eichner come up for our song.
Happy New Year. Uncle Dave's got it. Drum roll. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe.
There we go.
There we go. Auld Lang Syne goes along with the poem. So here we go. Should old acquaintance be forgot and ever brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of auld lang syne? For auld lang syne, my friend, for auld lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness, yes, for auld lang syne. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Please take your seats, and I'm going to ask Clint Morris to come up and introduce our guest that really doesn't need an introduction.
Well, I do have an easy introduction today. On top of a distinguished legal career, our speaker has been involved in many organizations and causes. Currently presides over our Commissioners Court, and appropriately is going to discuss with us today the issues that you want to hear about that Kerr County will face in 2022. So please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to the Honorable Rob Kelly.
It's good to be here. I always enjoy coming back to Rotary Club. Somebody said this morning that they were looking forward to being enlightened. Well, I can assure you that's not going to happen. But what I do want to have is a conversation with you, a conversation about what we've been doing. A lot of y'all don't know what's been going on at the county, what we've been doing and are continuing to do. And so I wanted to kind of throw out some topics and see and make it more conversational so that if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand and let's go ahead and deal with it right then. Because this is an opportunity for me to share information with you about county business. First of all, a lot of people have asked me over the past several months about reelection. Well, I am running for reelection and I'm unopposed, which is kind of unusual, but it feels good. And just so that you know what's going on at the county, Don Harris is also running for reelection for Precinct Commissioner 4, unopposed. And then, of course, you know what's going on in Precinct 2, right? Everybody up to date with that? 5 candidates. 5 candidates. And there will be a runoff, I'm almost certain. So that's going to be what's going on politically at the county. Y'all have heard, one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about are the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act. For those of you that haven't watched YouTube, we've had quite a series of meetings with regard to the ARPA funds with some very spirited people that want us to send the money back to Washington. The Commissioners Court has decided to hold that money. We're not going to take any action with regard to, and it's $10.2 million is what the federal government will send to Kerr County. They've sent half of it. 5.1 is in the bank account as we speak right now. And the next 5.1 comes in the summer. And so the decision that the Commissioners Court made, we listened to the people that came and talked to us. We don't have to make a decision about those funds until the end of 2024. That's when we have to have the funds obligated. So we've got plenty of time. We've got plenty of projects. As I've been working with Jeff and the Sheriff's Office on a potential project. We're working on a number of potential projects. We will be ready to spend the funds. Those projects will be in the can, so to speak, and ready to go when we make the decision. But we don't have to make the decision for a while, so we're not going to. We have to actually spend those funds by the end of 26. So we're going to have a midterm election in 22. We're going to see how that goes. For those that are Republicans, like I am, we're looking for maybe some gains in Congress. And then we're going to have the presidential election in 24, and we'll know the results of all of that before we make the decision what to do with those funds. How many of you know that the county is contemplating a bond issue? Good. But we are. And we've been working on it now for well over 2 years. What happened is when I took office, there was a plan to redesign part of the downstairs there at the courthouse, which really was just basically rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic because we don't have enough room for county government as it is. So we shelved that. And instead what we did is we put together and appointed we call it the CIP. And that is the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. And each one of the commissioners appointed a member of that committee. And I appointed one. We have 5 members from the public that are working with us. And they are Chris Hughes, Bobby Templeton, Fred Henneke, Pete Calderon, and Brenda Hughes on that committee. And when we convened, first thing we did was take them and took them to all the county facilities. From the West Kerr County Courthouse, y'all been to that courthouse, right? Isn't that a delight? To the Hill Country Youth Event Center, Road and Bridge, all of our different facilities. And we got input from them back to the county. It wasn't the county telling the citizens, this is what we want you to help us do. This was us asking the citizens, you take a look at it to tell us what needs to be done. And so we've been working on this bond issue, and it was always contemplated it would be a bond issue. It's not going to be a certificate of obligation. It was going to be a bond issue. The people will speak on whether or not they approve of this or not. But we've been working on it since the December of 2019, all the way through COVID. And in that process with this committee, what we learned a lot of lessons. I think that the city's experiencing some of these now. When we're talking about doing this, they asked me, well, where are you going to build this new animal services facility? Where are you going to do these things? And we didn't know. And of course, it's kind of self-defeating when you have to put in your bond issue how much money you're going to spend to buy that land. And the people that are selling that land are going to ask for at least that much or more, right? So what we did is we spent nearly all of 2020 looking at possible acquisitions. And we bought approximately 20 acres total, all within the city limits of Kerrville or Ingram, to be able to build these facilities that we're trying to build. And what we're looking at doing is building our own West Kerr County Annex building. And we purchased that 1.5 acres right beside the entrance into Ingram Tom Moore. We're looking to build a new animal services facility. For those of you that have not been to our animal services, please stop by. It's deplorable. The state should shut us down. It's that bad. And we've got to do something about it. And so what we did is we shopped around. If you remember the old driving range out by the VA, out there by the cemeteries, that's 16 acres. And it's a tract that's was on the market for over 10 years and had several contracts fall through because it has some warts on it. There are some floodplain issues. There's a sewage issue to have to put in a lift station, $1 million lift station, just to be able to service that area. But for county yards, like Road and Bridge Yard or a maintenance yard, we can use a lot of that regardless of that. And that's where we want to put the animal services, the new animal control building facility there. And to be able to use some of that open space to be able to walk the dogs and actually have a much better facility. But that 16 acres was on sale, was for sale for a long time. And for those of you that don't know, when the county gets ready to buy something, we have to get it appraised. We need to know what the fair market value is because we can't waste taxpayer dollars and overpay on something. And so we got an appraisal on it and the owner disagreed, thought it was way too low and rejected our contract. And so we kept waiting. And it took about a year before we closed on that, but we finally bought that property. And we got that 16 acres. And I'm going to give you the prices of all this so you can see. We went bargain shopping back during COVID. We bought that 16 acres for $350,000 with full city utilities inside the city limits. And we're going to build animal services there. We're going to build a storage facility to store all of the records that we have to keep here at the county. So we have all that space there to be able to grow. And when I first started working with the CIP, I suggested to them that we try to determine what the capital needs were for the county for the next 5 years, maybe 10, but certainly for 5. And Pete Calderon, and those of you that know Pete know he's quite a character. He kept looking at me and going, 30, do it for 30 years. This 20 acres that we purchased, it's probably going to be 25, 30 years that we're going to have that land to be able to meet the capital needs for the county. One of the things that happened, I'm going to talk about mandates for a minute. Y'all all familiar when the government gives us mandates that we have to do, whether they're federal or state, they're just mandated. Well, we had two mandates that have affected county government radically over the past couple of years, certainly on my watch. The first one was in 2019, just after I took office, we remodeled the county court at law courtroom and facilities downtown, right there on the first floor of the courthouse, right by the tax office. And hadn't been remodeled in what, 30 years? And so we finished it, and the Texas legislature decided that they were going to enact a law that requires us now to have not a 6-person jury in county court of law, but a 12-person jury. Now, if you've ever set foot in that courtroom and stepped over in the hallway and seen the jury room, you can barely squeeze 7 people in there. That's 6 plus an alternate. But there's no way you can get 13 or 14 people in there. So the legislature says you're going to have a 12-person jury, and you got to have facilities to accommodate them. Now, for those of you that know the courthouse, think about where's the only place we can expand to have that big a jury room for that court? Tax office. That's exactly right. The tax office. And so with that, we started what I call musical chairs. We're going to move the tax office out of the courthouse, and it's going to be in a different location. And you see that frequently in other counties where the tax office is separate. And so we started looking for property to do that. How many of y'all know what we did up on Earl Garrett? We now have an Earl Garrett campus. The old Church of Christ Sunday School building, the 2-story building, that was not ADA compliant, but it is now, was for sale. And that chapel, the old chapel right out in front of it, and the lot next to Jim Morris, and the parking lot behind the police station. We bought them all, 2.2 acres. That 2.2 acres has office space of approximately almost 14,000 square feet. It has parking spaces that will house up to 130 vehicles. And it has, I'm trying to think, and that's where we're going to put the tax office, is in that chapel, and there will be a drive-through facility for it. So you'll be able to pull off Earl Garrett, do your business in your car, and circle back around and come out where Jim Morris is. And we bought all of that and made that 2-story building ADA compliant for $1.8 million. Now, if you run the numbers on that, that's about $130 a square foot. Downtown, 1 block from the courthouse in a rural county. Where else can you do that? Where else can you do that? We have our entire campus now 1 block down the street. Other things that are going to be in that bond issue, I've told you about the storage building because we have to store all the documents. And Brenda Hughes has probably hundreds of photographs of how we store documents in closets and all over the place. And we're going to have one centralized storage place so everybody can access it. All the departments can access it. And then also, for those of you that have not been out to look at the indoor arena at the Hill Country Youth Event Center, we're going to go ahead and upgrade that and make it fully functional. You know, it's got that dirt floor in it that's contaminated. And so those are the projects that are on the table. I've been very proud of the CIP because they have been the backbone of this for the county. And they have really, really worked hard to help us do it. The acquisitions I've told you about. One of the biggest challenges that the county is facing right now is revising our subdivision rules and preparing for the growth that's coming to Kerr County. Now, everybody knows that there's growth coming, right? But nobody really knows how much is coming. So let me share with what we've got. I'm going back to the 2019 legislature. Oh, the other mandate I told you that I was going to tell you about was there was an unfunded mandate that the county has to provide indigent defense counsel for criminal defendants that can't afford attorneys. Everybody knows that, right? When you see the television and they talk about you have the right to an attorney, and if you can't afford one, one will be appointed for you. Well, you know who pays for those attorneys, don't you? You do. Not the state, not the federal government. They require it, but they don't pay for it. We do. And heretofore, that had been unfunded. The state might send us $30, $40, maybe $50,000 a year, depending on what they have available. But what happened is that we actually are the host county to a 5-county regional public defender's office now, with 31 employees of which 21 are lawyers. So that's quite an economic boon for the county. And the state, the first year gave us $2.5 million as a grant to fund this. And this past year, they gave us this fiscal year, we got 1.7, and this is going to be a sustaining grant as we go forward. So we actually were successful in not only putting together the public defender's office, the PDO, but in getting the grant from the state to help us with this, from the Texas Indigent Defense Commission. And so that's what's on that Earl Garrett campus. And one of the reasons that we had to buy properties in 2020 was because they said you have to have a place to put the PDO. 31 employees. Where are you going to do that? So we went out and bought that old building, made it ADA compliant, and now we have the campus down the street. But those were the mandates that affected us. As far as the growth, I sat down with Charlie Hastings, our county engineer, a couple of weeks ago, and just counted how many lots do we have on the drawing board right now for people that want to build in Kerr County or develop in Kerr County. And I was going to tell you about the 2019 legislature. Another thing that they did, and this was at the request of the developers lobby, they changed our platting and subdivision, how we plat our subdivisions in the county. For those of you that are in the business, you know that we used to have, you'd have a concept plan and then you'd put together a preliminary plat, get that approved, and then come back with the final plat. And all this would take maybe 6 months to a year. And over that period of time, you get everything kind of worked out as to how you're going to develop that subdivision. Well, the legislature, in their infinite wisdom, decided that, and I'm not picking on Andy here, he wasn't part of this. But what they did is they changed the law. No longer are there concept plans filed with the county. So if you're thinking about something, it used to be that you'd come tell us about it. You don't have to do that anymore. And they completely eliminated the preliminary platting process. Completely eliminated it. Now, a developer who wants to develop, and they're sitting out there as we speak, this, what I'm about to tell you, is they're out there, they've told us they're coming, they haven't filed it yet. All they've got to do is file their application for final plat approval. And once they do, the clock starts running, and the county, and I think about my county engineer, I got a county engineer and his assistant, 2 employees in that department. They file that final plat application, and we have 30 days to approve, deny, or conditionally approve. And we have to cite our rules to support the basis for anything that we don't approve. That's what the legislature did to us. And so we're kind of, when it gets to this development business, we kind of have 1 foot in a bucket here. What I'm about to describe to you is what we expect to see in the first quarter, maybe into the second quarter this year. As we speak, we counted up 885 lots that want to be developed in the county. And of those 885, 600 of them are 5 acre or bigger lots. Can you visualize that? And I sat down with Bob Reeves, our tax assessor collector, who is an appraiser, and we worked up what we thought the money that was going to be spent to buy those lots. To purchase the lot and to put a water well on it, which is what you have to do, and a septic system, we figure easily probably $150,000 to $250,000 each. That's what's coming to Kerr County. And they're coming overnight. Those people, and if you go out there, we've had 2 of these that I'm complaining about. 2 developers, the Hideout off of Harper Road 479, and then the one over here, Great Sky, which is back off right behind Turtle Creek over there. They just flagrantly violated our subdivision rules. You're not supposed to go in and survey your lots and lay out and put in your roads, but they did. And then they had a big tent and they had a big sale. You can't sell the lots before they plat. No plat's been filed. None. And they put the base down for that road, put in a big tent, had a pre-sale party, drove them around to show them where their lots would be, and they're sold out, both of them. Now, because they did all of this in violation of the subdivision rules, and you can say, I'm being a hard rump on this, I am. Those of you that know me know I do it regularly. But we made them scrape the base up. They can't put that base down until they come to the county and get their plat approved. And they're deliberately not coming to the county. It's just kind of like they're doing what they want to do out there. So that's what we're facing right now. Y'all are familiar with the Center Point Village problem. Okay, and if you remember, I voted against that. But it got some kind of approval. I'm not sure what it really is legally, but they got some kind of approval back last January. But it looks like it might not make. They've got till the end of this month to come to us with a plat, and if they don't, then it's off the table. But that may or may not make. That's 200 lots, and those are going to be 200, and it'd be very high density development. But I'm trying to think, what else? We can talk all day long about this growth, and it's coming. Got one developer who wants to build 400 houses on a 100-acre tract. And is going to sue us if we don't approve it. Already told us. So we're in for some exciting times ahead when it comes to growth. Other things that we've been doing, I mentioned a little bit about the Public Defender's Office. It's been a huge success. They're handling almost 3,500 cases now. And the way the PDO works that's so good about it is they're leasing that building from the county. That 10,000 square foot building over there that we bought and fixed up, they're paying us $80,000 a year just to lease it. And that $80,000 a year is split between the 5 counties. And the 5 counties are Medina, Bandera, Kendall, Kerr, and Gillespie. And we'll do it on the basis of case count. It's all pro rata. Kerr County has 34%, is what our percentage was this past year. We pay 34% of the expenses, and the other 4 counties contribute the other 66. So, and there is a small office in Hondo, and the main office is here. And as I said, we've got, I think we're technically right now 3 lawyers short. So instead of having 21, I think we're probably at 18 right now. And then we have the legal assistants, the staff, and everything that go with it. It's been quite an accomplishment for us. And in fact, it's been such a success that we get calls from all these other regions across the state. They want copies of our organizational documents and how we did it. We did not do it through Texas Rural Legal Aid. We did it ourselves. And it's managed by the 5 county judges and an 11-member board. That's who does it. Another thing the county's been up to that you probably don't know about, it has to do with the aggregate production in the east part of the county. We formed an advisory council. And the advisory council, and for those of you that don't know, the county can't really regulate those quarries. You know, mining minerals in Texas is a way of life, right? And mining that aggregate out there, those people have the absolute right to do that. Now, what we're trying to do is to get the citizens and the producers, the operators, and the business people in the area to get together and talk about best management practices. What can we do that we can all help one another? And like one of the big annoyances that you have, the nuisances, are the backup alarms on that heavy equipment. And the people that live there, it drives them crazy. And we've been very successful in getting the operators to cooperate with us and put the quackers, the quack, quack, instead of the bells for the backup alarms. Sounds like a little thing, but to the neighbors, it's a big thing. And it's a chance for us to be able to sit down and try to resolve these disagreements as they come up. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that Representative Murr bill that we're still trying to get it passed on what the procedure for reclaiming these quarries once they finish their production. We're working very closely with them. And we've got 11 members on that board. If you notice, I tend to like big boards. 3 of those are actual operators. 3 of those are neighbors, citizens. 2 are businessmen. And 3, there's the county, city, and the airport board all sit on that board. And we've had several meetings. We've got another one coming up later this month. And it's been very, very successful. And one of the things that I've done with that board, we call that the APO Advisory Council, is instead of having neighbors yelling at operators or operators yelling back at the neighbors and say, we have the right to make money, I mediate the thing. I preside. And so we take turns who speaks. Everybody is civil, treat each other with respect and dignity. And some very frank things are said to one another. But at the same time, and of course, Kelly's an ex officio member. She comes to it and you've watched what we do. And it's worked very well. And we've gotten a national recognition on that one too. We're the first one in Texas to do this. So we've been somewhat innovative. But that's what we've been up to. And what we're looking this next year, the real emphasis is going to be on getting our subdivision rules revised. They haven't been revised since 2007, and they're out of date. And some parts of them are not even enforceable. So we've got to get that fixed. We're working with our private counsel in Austin to get that done. And once we get the subdivision rules in place, some of you already told me, you read about me in the paper on what I'm trying to do with the subdivision rules. The subdivision rules have been enforced spotty, is the best way to put it. There has not been uniform enforcement of those rules. And so people come to us and say, well, here, three times you did this, do that for me. And so what I'm trying to do is to get it away from more subjectivity to more objectivity so that we do have an enforceable set of black and white rules. And that's one of our big priorities. I talked to you about the development. We expect to see somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 or 5, maybe as many as 6 or 7 final plat applications to hit our desk this quarter, certainly by the summer. And that means that we've got to go through and review their plans. And when they give you plans now, this is not something that you sit down and worked out with them. This is something they've got their own engineering department, they've got their own legal department, and they're coming to us, and we've got to go through and be able to respond to that within 30 days. So we're pretty busy, Is there anything else that's, yep.
If a developer wants to develop subdivision, very dense, very large, you have to somehow contribute to upgrading the county road that goes out.
They're responsible for the roads in their development. They're not responsible for the county roads or the state highways. And the county so far has not required offsite improvements. And what an offsite improvement is when you make somebody improve something off the side of their development. That's very common in the metropolitan areas. It really hasn't spread out here into the rural areas yet. So to answer your question, no, we don't make them do it. But we do have very strict requirements as to the width of the road, accessing out onto the county roads or even the state highways. And one of my pet peeves is I'm being very strict in enforcing what those requirements are. The lot frontage, I don't want to grant variances unless there is a pressing public need for that. Jeff.
Rob, what do you do to enforce these guys that are like take the high? I mean, they held that land sale.
I know they did.
We went up there and saw it was like the zoo. I mean, it really was weird. But they're telling people, well, yes, go remain ag exempt. All you have to do is not put up a fence. Well, there's more to keeping an ag exemption in a county than not having a fence.
That's true, but that's not something that the county does. The appraisal district does.
Well, I understand that, but it's this misleading tactics that they're using to sell these properties that they don't have the right to sell yet. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. They didn't have the right to sell them, and yet they did something. They sold something. They drove them around and showed them lots and.
What does the county have? Does the county have recourse against this?
How many of y'all seen my little temper tantrums on YouTube? It's a pet peeve of mine, Jeff. And what we've done, the subdivision rules as they presently exist say that if you violate the subdivision rules, it is a Class C misdemeanor. Now, Class C misdemeanor can be up to 180 days in jail and a fine of, I can't remember, was it $200 a day or something? Something, I can't remember exactly what it is. But you can try to arrest them for a misdemeanor. And the problem with that is when I refer it to the county attorney's office, because I'm mad at them for doing it, she has prosecutorial discretion, and what she wants to do is just get them to comply. And so, and they said, well, they've offered to pay money. I'm not saying it's a bribe. Maybe it is, I don't know. But when I talked to the county attorney about it, she says, as long as they comply. So the engineer, Charlie and I sat down and said, make them scrape up all the base. And they did. So the county attorney said, they did what you wanted. I said, no, I didn't want them to have that tent sale out there. I didn't want that base to be down for them to be able to show the people where a lot might be. I didn't want any of that stuff, but they did it. And so as we revise these subdivision rules, we're looking at enforcement mechanisms. That's one of the things we're considering is how do we do it? So we're not unmindful of it. Trying to figure it out. COVID uptick. I don't know what to tell you about COVID. I'm about COVID out. I have not had COVID, nor has my wife. Somehow we've avoided it. I don't mind telling you, we're vaccinated and have boosters. My grandson, it spoiled our Christmas celebration because he came down with COVID. And so we had the one out at the ranch with them and the one at the house with us. That's how we celebrated Christmas. But there is an uptick. We're running average now for the last several weeks, about 140 to 145 maybe active cases countywide. Hospital, we went from single digits, we're up to, I think the last I saw, we had 15 in the hospital, one on the ventilator. Most of them are unvaccinated, but not all. We've had a number of breakthrough cases. We've had people who had COVID before that had natural immunities get COVID again. We've had people that have been vaccinated get COVID. It's not a high percentage. The one thing that I will tell you that Peterson has emphasized to us is those people that have had a vaccination or a booster get a much milder version of it. But it's still out there. And quite frankly, I think it's going to have to burn through the community, and that's the only way we're going to get herd immunity. I don't think the people that haven't been vaccinated, I'm not fussing at anybody. I don't expect you to run out and get vaccinated because somebody asked you to. I think a lot of thought has gone into the people that haven't gotten vaccinated. And so the only way we're going to get herd immunity is to let it burn through. And those of us that have been vaccinated probably either won't get it or won't get it very badly. And they're anticipating the next 2 weeks will be the peak.
Judge Kelly, I hear that Kerrville desperately needs more housing for workers so that they can. Now, I hear you say that there are lots of blocks that are coming. And I don't know what to make of that. It's good that we need more housing. It's good we have lots. I just don't understand.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit. First of all, the Chamber's put together an affordable housing committee that Philip Stacy and I serve on. Of course, Philip's very active with Habitat for Humanity. And I don't know if I was careless or reckless that day at the Chamber meeting when I said affordable housing in Kerrville is a misnomer. Our dirt and rocks in Kerr County are too expensive for affordable housing. The only way you're going to get it is in high density developments. Now, there are some very good projects. I mean, the Callows are working on one. Dale Kerrville came and talked to us about one over here off Holdsworth, mixed use development that's going in. But realistically, the only affordable housing that I see that we can do in the county is probably manufactured housing. And for those of you that are not familiar with the Meadowbrook development out off 27 towards Mountain Home, take time to drive out there and take a look at that. That's the same developer that did Ingram Oaks. They're manufactured houses. They're not, it's not a trailer park. And they're, the people buy their manufactured housing, and there's, I think, a half a dozen plans that they have that you could buy. They own the dirt and rocks where the house sits, and you lease it long-term. And it's an over 55 community. And what they do is they buy the homes back from the people as they go into assisted living or pass away. And that is a very viable alternative to affordable housing, but we don't have any for younger people. And you talk about the lots. Let's talk about those 5 acre plus lots. That's not affordable housing, folks. A 5 acre lot in Kerr County that you're probably going to pay $100,000 for and spend 50 to put a well and a septic system on. Bob and I talked about it. We figure that the average, those could probably be $1 million properties, $750,000 to $1 million properties by the time. But people are going to want at least a $500,000 house on that. I mean, look what you get for $500,000. I bought my first home in 1975 for $35,000. What can you buy for $35,000? Well, that's the point. Yeah. So it's a problem. I got to tell you, and I'll just pick an arbitrary number. 600 straws in the ground in Kerr County is not a good thing. 600 more septic systems in Kerr County is not a good thing. That's not a good thing, but that's what's coming. And who are going to be the people that are going to provide the services for those folks that come? Because the people that come are going to have money and they're going to have expectations. And so where are people going to live to service the people that live in Kerr County? Yes, sir. Well, good. The question is, where are we going to get the water to support all these lots? Well, one of the things that we're doing is, and let me kind of back up. Chapter 232 of the local government code, and I know everybody's going to run out and look this up, controls counties and their subdivisions and development. Chapter 232 prohibits the county specifically from using density as any requirement with regard to our subdivision. So we can't control density except for the health, safety, and you like this one, morals and welfare of the public. Health, safety, morals, and welfare of the public. Now, the problem is nobody knows exactly how far we can go with that. It's in there, that exception is in there. But one of the things has to do with water and wastewater, because that directly affects the health of the community. And so in these revised subdivision rules, one of the things that I'm advocating is that everything is going to have to be based on water availability and wastewater. And so Headwaters is going to become basically the one with the big stick in the county, because they're the ones who determine the water availability. And as much as I hate to say this, but we're probably going to have water availability studies for every development, every subdivision, so that we know. The one in Center Point, we know the water tables are dropping over there. That one's a problem already. That's one of the reasons that I voted against it. But Headwaters ultimately determines, they issue the permits, the well permits, and they know, they have the calculations as to how many gallons, I think it's 80,000 gallons per person per acre, something like that. But Headwaters is going to be a major player in this. And when you talk about wastewater, remember the county has our environmental health department, and we issue the septic permits. And so if you want to talk about any kind of density out in the county, you're going to have major on-site sewage facilities, the OSSF. That's what they have out at Meadowbrook when you drive out there. They've got that. And they have a common water system for their subdivision. They've actually put some foresight into what they're doing out there, even though the neighbors don't like it. But water and wastewater are going to be the most important factors in what we do going forward. Anything else? I'll hang around a little bit afterwards. And by the way, I'm meeting with the CIP right after this. Bond issue is probably going to be about 25 million, just to give you a preview. That's what we're looking at.
Thank you, Judge, and sorry to give you the axe, but it's also thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. He will be here to answer questions afterwards. Stephanie Miller is on the road, so let's keep her in our thoughts and prayers. And fortunately for everybody in Rotary, she has nothing to report for families in Rotary. So let's just all pray for one another to have a great 2022 and make it better than the odd number we had last year. Mr. Windling, if you'd like to come up and do the announcements for our guests real fastly. Fastly? Quickly?
Happy New Year to everybody. Can you hear me okay? All right. Paula's back with us today. Raise your hand, yell. Good to see you. Philip Stacy, your name's down here and I'm not sure the linkage. Oh, okay. All right. So Paul's with you today. Of course, Woody, where are you, buddy? Finally got you from Houston. Welcome to Kerrville. Woody Lockhart, ladies and gentlemen, of the famous Lockhart family. And EA has no barcode. Oh, I guess that means no more free drinks or something. They're all free. Anyway. 30 seconds. One, Judge mentioned projects and once again, not an ambush, but it's a pleasure working with him and I'm not patronizing him. It's a very, very complicated, this ARPA money. And I appreciate what Judge and the commissioners are doing in terms of how they're handling it without saying too much. But we get an opportunity to get tax dollars back, gang, if you don't know what it is. Instead of budgeting them, we get them back from the government and it allows us to do projects that we need to do that we're in arrears on without putting it in your tax burden. Anyway, thanks for your presentation.
Thank you, Jeff. Something new that we're going to do this year, and Christy Vandenberg started it. I'm her guinea pig for the first edition. So her guinea pig, we'll let her explain it.
I just want to come this way and say good job. Okay, stand up. We are going to start doing something that's going to be hopefully kind of fun and entertaining for y'all. I'm going to tell you about Jeff Harris. This is Jeff Harris. He has a new job. I don't know if you all know this, but this is brand new. I can tell him this.
You can tell them that.
His new title is Senior VP and Branch Executive for South Star Bank. He has a new title. His favorite Rotary projects are anything to do with veterans, basically, but he really does like being able to golf for veterans. So just saying that. He is married. You know his wife, Christy, she's been here. No children, no grandchildren, no great-grandchildren. Two pets. They're cats. And they are named Simon and Garfunkel. Good to know. His hobbies, fishing and golf. See, they all know you very well. His favorite restaurant, he says his favorite restaurant is actually cooking at home. But if he had to, he would say El Humidor, and he said it had something to do with margaritas. I don't know. Favorite food, steak or seafood. Favorite sports team, he had to dig deep for this. Baylor Bears. Yeah, there you go. Other volunteer responsibilities, he's a VP of Hill Country Crisis Council, works together with Hill Country veterans, just joined the PNZ. He had to explain that to me, EA. That's the Planning and Zoning Group. And he's in Leadership Kerr County, class number 36. His favorite drink is a martini. And something that no one else in this room will know about him.
Until now.
And they'll remember it, I guarantee. He played basketball in junior high school or in elementary, junior high. Okay. One of you will be next.
My nickname was Kool-Aid. I didn't tell you that. Kool-Aid. I couldn't play basketball, but I can make free throws. And every time I did, I had the Kool-Aid smile. So there's more about me. No mention of that this weekend, Jeffrey. So, Marta, main event.
Yeah.
Something coming up, kind of sort of important.
Yeah, just in case anybody's really interested. I trust you guys can all hear me, even though I'm wearing a mask. Thank you. So I've got raffle tickets available. Many of you picked them up already today, so thank you for that. Some of you actually even already purchased tickets, so thank you for that. We've got some sponsor information available as well. I've got that with me. I'll have it at every one of these meetings. We are looking for wine and whiskey donations for the wine and whiskey pool. You can bring that to these meetings or drop them at Amber Thomason's office. And this morning, I talked to Jam Broadcasting and Toby Appleton from Shriner, and they are going to donate MC and DJ services for our event that evening. So that's taken care of at no expense other than I have to feed them from the buffet, which I said I'd be happy to do. We are going to try to do a silent auction using an online like we did last time. So some people are already trying to go out and get silent auction items. We just need to get the auction set up. Robin, I'm happy to help you with that, or if you have an update.
Yes, take pictures of them and text them to me if you have items. And then I'll put them up.
Okay, so take a picture of your item, text it to Robin. She probably needs to know what the value of it is so that she can set the initial bid price. But we'll get that up with an online opportunity. And then that way it can go far and wide beyond just the people in this room to purchase those items. So any questions? My phone number, 792-7215-7275. Email me, let me know. And we're going to get this thing going. I'm doing a walkthrough on Friday at the Youth Event Center to see where we can put all the tables and the bars and everything that we're going to need. But appreciate everybody's help, suggestions, recommendations, and enthusiasm so far. We got 4 more weeks of needing that level of enthusiasm, so I appreciate everybody very much.
Thank you, Marta. I know your efforts are not going unnoticed, and it's not easy. But Blue Santa, by the numbers, 73 families, 181 children, and $11,255 raised for Blue Santa. So give yourselves a hand. Our Christmas party that we had. I'm not done yet. So, are you pointing at Johnny or Andy? No, we didn't. So Andy Murr, you were with us. Thank you, sir. So he wasn't on the list, but I spoke to him. I know he was here, but no. All the way from Austin or the ranch, one of the two. But thank you for being here with us. Christmas party that we had. Mercy Gate Ministries, we raised $2,525 for Mercy Gate at the Christmas party. So, another little thing that we're doing is people in action. I want to ask Captain Romack to come up real quick and give us a little something for Dave Samuel, who's not here. I'm gonna save Dave because he's the man that does it.
Yeah, I hate to steal Dave's thunder because he's so excited when he gets up here, and I appreciate all the hard work that he put in to put together a volunteer list for this year. I want to say thank you to all of you for helping us with the kettles this year out of Gibson. I know some of you had a little more fun than others standing out at the kettle, so that was free, no charge. But just to let you know, altogether we raised $2,500 that'll stay here in the community and go back into our programs and services to help all of our fellow Kerrvillians, I guess is how you say it, here locally. And we have a little certificate for you to say thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you, Captain. And we accepted that on behalf of Dave. Next Wednesday, we're going to ask everybody that attends the meeting, wear blue. We're asking that because
Real quick, there's a couple things on your table. I know y'all can hear me. Rotary is getting involved in helping to educate with this whole thing about end human trafficking. We talked about it before. These, if you would take them, post them at your business, wear blue next Tuesday. Maybe you can get all your employees to wear blue, take a picture, post it up on the website, do something like that. We're gonna wear blue next Wednesday, and then we'll take a picture of our whole club in blue. Any color. Right, and then we'll take a picture of it. I traveled over the holidays, and one of the greatest things I think I saw was every time I went into a woman's restroom at the airport, there was some sort of signage that said, if you're in trouble, if you're being held against your will, any of those things. It was either in the bathroom, on the back of the door, so people could, if they have a phone, make a call there, or it was next to the mirrors or somewhere else. These are great. If we can figure out a way to work with our local school district to put these out. Unfortunately, the biggest group right now is junior high and upper elementary that they are getting to. So we just have to find ways to get these up and posted everywhere we can. January is Human Trafficking Month. So please help distribute.
Thank you, ma'am. So next Tuesday, take pictures. Next Wednesday, wear blue for us. Fun part. Bill Peenacker, you want a Rotary pen today? Do you like Mad Dog 2020? I left it in the bag so nobody sees what it is. New member, new pin, and that's how we keep you here. We give you wine. We have a transferring member coming in. Jessica, you're with us today. She is transferring in from Harlingen. Get our up away from the border area here to the beautiful hill country. So welcome, thank you. We have next meeting next week is going to be Jessica Mendoza with Canines for Warriors. So kind of a neat program. I kind of like it a little bit because it's dealing with veterans and service dogs for our vets. So that will be a nice program to have. We have one last quick announcement from Secretary Winley, and then we'll get y'all out of here because we are a little bit behind today.
Hey, thanks for holding your breath. Captain Jeremiah and I are trying to create an information flow up here prior to meetings. So if you have any photos like we took today or whatever, pass them to Captain Jeremiah or myself on our emails, and we'll consolidate them and we'll put them up here starting next week. Any past events that you've done, anything from Blue Santa that we have that we can get in there, because we want to keep a running visual of what we've done and why we've done it, where we've done it, and to whom we've done it. No, I'm sorry. So if you have any questions, give me a call. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Remind all the members that the stock show is going on this weekend, and world of great kids out there work hard on projects. So Saturday afternoon, Tuesday, go out and support them as always.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. And past President Talarico and myself will be there doing the bidding for the Rotary Club. He's going to hold my hand and show me how to do it because I also get to do it for the bank this year. So it's going to be fun times. So with that, if you would please join me with the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned?